over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Yes, big shout out to our partners at ABAC, but an even bigger shout out to you for checking in on another Farm Monitor. Ray DeLessio, Jennifer Parson at your service.
Coming up, a sticker shock at the meat counter as beef prices hit their highest level in 70 years. What's fueling the rise and what it means for both producers and consumers. Also on the show, they traveled to South America to strengthen Georgia's role in global agriculture. And while in Brazil, Governor Brian Kemp and Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper joined the Monitor, sharing personal insights and potential new opportunities for Georgia agriculture.
And then later, from the fields of Seminole County, one Georgia farmer is walking us through this year's corn harvest and why the challenges off the field may be just as important as the crops in it. Just some of the stories you'll see, and it all starts right now.
If you've been to the grocery store recently, you've probably noticed the sticker shock at the beef counter as prices for the commodity are at record highs. Our John Holcomb explains what's driving the surge and what it means for both producers and consumers.
Whether you're a cattle producer or a grocery shopper, there's no doubt you've seen the record price of beef at the store. A trend that's been climbing steadily, reaching its highest level in 70 years. In fact, according to Extension livestock economist Will Secor, beef prices have increased 15% since last year.
When we look at some of the data and we can compare what we're seeing in our most recent data compared to last year, for example, beef prices overall are up 15%. That compares to other proteins like pork that's up maybe around 2%. Chicken is up around 3% year over year. So this same time this last year, we're up considerably for beef, but we're not seeing that same level of increase.
According to Secor, there are several different factors driving up prices, but mostly can be attributed to the country's shrinking cattle herd.
We've been approaching the low in this most recent cattle cycle. We had July inventory numbers that were again lower compared to, with the July data, we have to compare back to 2023. But if we go back to our January data, it was lower than 2024. So we have lower cattle inventory. That's creating lower beef, even though we're actually producing more beef per head.
And with those tighter supplies, Secor says the effects can be seen in every aspect of the cattle industry.
We're seeing high prices all along the supply chain. So retail, that high retail price is translating back to high wholesale prices, it's translating back to high fed cattle prices, and it's translating back to higher feeder cattle and calf prices.
According to Secor, those higher prices aren't going anywhere anytime soon, as he says it takes a while for cattle inventory to build back up.
Supply is really slow to turn around. It takes a while for producers to make that retention decision and start to see those supplies actually translate into more beef at the retail level. So from a supply standpoint, we're turning around an ocean liner, not a jet ski. And so that's going to be slow to turn from the supply side.
Secor says that because of those higher prices projected to remain, at least for some time, producers that might be looking to optimize profitability need to make sure that they're managing costs on their operations.
Having a good sense of where your break even is, making sure that you're an efficient producer, using your land, your labor, your capital well in each of those different areas, making sure that you have the infrastructure in place to take advantage of different market opportunities that you might be looking at. Those would all be areas on the production side that also help you maintain a good margin and even potentially increase revenue without even expanding your herd.
Reporting in Athens for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Of course, Georgia's #1 industry is agriculture, and recently it was on the global stage as Governor Brian Kemp and Georgia Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper traveled to South America as part of an economic mission focused on expanding markets for Georgia farmers and strengthening long-standing trade relationships. During the trip, they joined me from Brazil to talk about the purpose of their visit and its significance for the future of Georgia agriculture. Governor, let me start with you. You have called this a milestone trip for Georgia's global presence. From an agricultural standpoint, why Brazil, why Argentina, and why now?
Well, a couple of reasons. I really felt like there was a lot of opportunity in South America just in general for a lot of different reasons. Certainly, agriculture is a big part of the economy here, and certainly a big part of our economy, our number one industry. So when I started talking to the team about doing a trip to South America, I just said, I feel like we need to go down there and replant a flag, if you will, let our presence be known, look at opportunities. I personally have been concerned about, how much China and Russia have been playing in South America, and the U.S. not so much over the last several years. So I felt like it would be good for us to take a trip down here and kind of say, hey, we're from the state of Georgia. We're open for business. We have a lot of like-minded people, a lot of like-minded and similar industries, certainly agriculture being one of those. And the team came back and said, look, we should go to Brazil and Argentina.
And Commissioner, for you, really what specific needs for Georgia farmers, made this the right time for this trip?
Well, I think, Ray, I'll kind of add in on what the governor just said. The opportunities, the meetings we've already had, I think have exceeded our expectations and a lot more than what we were really expecting. I think right now, when you look at where we are in the state of agriculture and the ag economy in light of Hurricane Helene, in light of the multiple mill closures we've seen that have affected the forestry industry, the impacts to our poultry industry in the state, and while we're here in Brazil, and it's obviously the ag commodities across the board, but being here in Brazil, we've had opportunities to meet with companies specifically about those commodities and about opening up new market opportunities for those commodities, looking at business opportunities in our state to expand current operations or new operations that may open up new opportunities for those areas where we've seen issues in some of the marketplace.
Well, the corn harvest is underway in South Georgia, but it's not all good news. Why one farmer says rising input costs could threaten the future. Next.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. I'm from Crisp County and I'm an ambassador for the Georgia National Fairgrounds. So as an ambassador, we do many different things. We work directly with the fairgrounds and help get an inside look at the fair and different events that they put on. You get to represent agriculture in general. When we're doing things with the fair, it sets a tone and lets people see that what the livestock industry is, and in turn it shadows agriculture and helps you be an ambassador really for agriculture and highlight that industry. The ambassador program is a program for youth and livestock where they can get more involved with the fairgrounds. It's obvious that us who show livestock spend a lot of time here at the fairgrounds with all those shows that they put on. So it's a way that we can jump in and become ambassadors for livestock and agriculture in general.
Sometimes looks can be deceiving. Even though Burton Brooks Orchards is a well-established farmers market selling a wide variety of locally grown produce, it's actually this summer delicacy that keeps the locals coming back. And it's an operation started up 12 years ago by owner Lynn Abbott after buying some old school churns from her retired uncle.
I bought it, he moved it down, and it came with 2 5-gallon churns that got me started. Since then, we've added on to the building 3 times, and we're now running 5 churns a day, make about 20 to 25 churns on an average day.
And that is what sets the ice cream apart, as they use this specially made equipment that is not easy to come by.
They came from Pennsylvania. They're made by the Amish. They make 5 gallons in each churn. They come with a hand crank. We're not going to hand crank it. I'll draw the line. We have motors, gearboxes that turn it.
However, that does not make the production of this sweet treat any less labor intensive, as it takes a full 24 hours in order to reach this kind of quality.
You prepare your fruit the day before with the 5 pounds of fruit, the sugar, and you let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. That way it can absorb most of the sugar. The next day you make your churns. Each churn, you might as well figure 45 minutes from start to clean up to start it again. So it's about a day-long process.
It's not just the hard work, but also the ingredients that go into each and every batch that makes the taste so unique. And it all starts off with a high-quality base.
It's 14% butter fat. We get it from a dairy out of Atlanta. All my ingredients have to come to me from a licensed processor, sealed up and inspected. We can't use our own peaches or blueberries. They all come from licensed processors.
That type of attention to detail is very evident in the final product, which is why people around South Georgia just can't get enough of it.
The way we make it, you can actually see the pieces of fruit, and there's more of a fruit taste without adding a lot of artificial flavors and ingredients to enhance the flavor. So that's why we do it. It's just better. It's creamier. It's more labor intensive, but I think it's worth it.
Reporting from Barney, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
When he's not serving as president of the Seminole County Farm Bureau, Greg Mims is wearing the hat he knows best: farmer. From peanuts to corn, his fields are a steady source of high-value, high-quality crops. As part of an ongoing series with Georgia's ag leaders, our Kenny Burgamy caught up with Greg right in the middle of his cornfield, where the two walked the rows and discussed everything from this year's harvest to everyone's least favorite subject, rising input costs.
Greg, tell me about the field we're in today. When did you plant it? What do you have here?
This field of corn was planted about the second week in March. We planted a population of about 35,000 kernels to the acre out here.
And it seems like you've had some pretty good rain this season.
This year we did have decent rain. We had really good weather, had a good growing season. The growing season was, during the corn growing season, was not terribly hot, which helped, even though it's turned off really hot now, you know, but it's been a decent growing season.
The corn we're looking at over here, can you tell me specifically where this will be going? People may not have any idea about the harvest and where it ends up from Georgia and South Georgia.
Most of the corn in South Georgia goes for chicken feed. We harvest, of course it's still got moisture, so we carry it into our dryer right now and dry the corn down to 15.5% moisture to be delivered to a feed mill is where, and most of it around this area goes for chicken feed.
Can you tell us about input cost? I'm hearing a lot about that, especially with the big beautiful bill that came out of Washington and things that have been popping politically. How does that impact you with the cost?
Well, of course, as you know, input costs right now are still extremely high. It's really hard to break even. We really need better prices. Corn right now is just under $4 on September trade, so that's not paying, too many, not helping to feed the family a lot.
You're also heavily involved with the soybeans that are grown in South Georgia. A lot of people don't even think about the soybeans that come from this part of the country. That's very important also to the U.S. population and to our economy.
Yeah, soybeans this year we've seen just in Seminole County, we've seen an increase in the acres of soybeans and pretty much all over the state, because soybeans is one of the crops that you don't have as many input costs, so they're a lot more economical to grow. Just like this field we're standing in here, we're going to come back and plant ultra late soybeans behind this corn.
If you had to do it over again, would you plant corn? Would you plant soybeans, or would you do something differently?
We would plant corn. We have a rotation we have to keep up. there's a certain amount of corn we're going to plant every year, and corn, peanuts, cotton, and soybeans. So we just keep that rotation going every year.
Does Georgia have an advantage over some other states like Florida, for instance, when it comes to climate, the rainfall, soil?
Down in southwest Georgia, we're very fortunate to have the Floridian aquifer, which is an abundant water supply. So we're blessed with it. And I've always said, you can go pretty much 50 miles and 50-mile radius of Seminole County, and there's about any crop grown that you can pretty much find. So we're very fortunate to live in this area, to be able to grow the crops that we grow.
I know you're heavily involved in Farm Bureau and the Seminole County Farm Bureau president. Why is Farm Bureau so important to agriculture in the state of Georgia?
Farm Bureau is very important to agriculture because they have lobbyists in Atlanta that help to get certain laws and bills passed for us, and on past that, going on to Washington, just have that voice, just to keep letting Washington and Atlanta know, agriculture is alive and well, and it's very, very important to have that voice for us to be able to survive.
You said agriculture is alive and well. Looking to the future, if you would make a prediction 5-10 years, what does it look like here in the state?
In our state, in the state of Georgia, right now, we need some help to get better prices and help to lessen the input cost. That's what it's going to take for the farmer to survive.
Thank you for letting us come out here today.
I appreciate you very much for coming to visit.
Corn looks great.
Thank you, sir.
Kenny, Greg, nice job. Straight ahead, from salsa to peaches to corn. See how one Perry canning plant is helping families preserve their harvest while keeping a legacy in agriculture alive.
Serious animal diseases can threaten our food supply, agricultural economy, and even public health. According to the World Health Organization, more than 70% of new and emerging infectious diseases in humans are zoonotic, which means that they can transfer from animals to humans.
The National Bio and Agrodefense Facility, which is owned and operated by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, is working to protect our livestock, food supply, and public health from transboundary, emerging, and zoonotic animal diseases.
NBAF, as it's called, has biosafety level 2, 3, and 4 laboratories. BSL-4 laboratories require the highest level of safety and security protocols and equipment, so USDA scientists can safely study and develop vaccines and diagnostics for a variety of high-consequence animal pathogens. There are only a few facilities in the world that have a BSL-4 with the capacity to house large livestock. Before NBAF, U.S. scientists had to rely on other countries' facilities to work with zoonotic and emerging diseases. NBAF is a critical component of USDA's priority to develop vaccines and countermeasures, as well as the early detection of diseases that threaten our livestock. In addition, NBAF scientists will collaborate with industry and academic partners to transfer research into veterinary medical countermeasures used to prevent or fight animal disease outbreaks around the world. Located in America's heartland, NBAF scientists are working for a safer and more resilient America through this world-class science facility.
Well, finally this week, ever wanted to learn how to can, maybe have a ton of produce, but not enough space or equipment to preserve it? Then the Argene Claxton canning plant may be your answer.
Named after Dr. Elsie Argene Claxton, retired Perry High School ag teacher, FFA advisor, and overall champion of ag education. Claxton has a long list of accomplishments, including being the youngest ever inducted into the Georgia Agricultural Education Hall of Fame. And his namesake is continuing his legacy by teaching the art of canning.
This is one place that we do tackle ag education from all fronts, you know, the high school, middle school, adults.
Ryan Towton, an ag teacher in the area, says he enjoys teaching others the art of canning, but especially enjoys passing on the trade to his daughter.
She put in peaches today, she did salsa today, we did boiled peanuts yesterday. She gets excited about it. I can't leave the house if she knows I'm going to the canning plant without it.
Nestled in the center of Perry lies this state-of-the-art facility, the Argene Claxton Canning Plant.
We provide a service here from start to finish. And some people grow their own, and some people find markets that's growing it locally or regionally.
It's just one of 28 facilities like it in Georgia and serves as an extension of your home kitchen, allowing members of the community to preserve their homegrown foods.
They'll come in and wash their produce, wash their vegetables. We'll blanch them or steam them or whatever for them. We have a blanching machine, and what that does is it kind of flash steams it for a preservative type deal. And then if we need to cook it down, we have kettles that we cook it down in. We'll bring it to a boil and let it simmer for however long they want to cook it, and then we'll put it in a jar, hot or cold. If they want to put it in cold, that's fine too. We hot or cold pack. And then they go in retorts and they have to cook at either 212 degrees or 240 under pressure for, like I said, a certain amount of time, according to USDA standards.
What sets this facility apart from the rest? It's home to the only corn cutter and creamer machines in the state.
We've done anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 ears in a day, which is a lot.
I think this is extremely important because we have so many small farmers and things, and people that raise gardens and people that buy produce, and especially since we're in a society now that consumers want to know where their product comes from. How better to be able to do that than running it through a facility like this with educators like myself and the other ag teachers in the county, being able to show them how to properly put it up and properly use it and properly be able to take it home to their families.
They noticed an increase in interest during the pandemic.
We really saw numbers increase during COVID. You know, we had the big scare of availability, and then people wanted to know where their food was coming from. I would say our footprint has more than quadrupled in the last 4 to 5 years.
It's open in June and July each year. Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee Chairwoman Allie Andrews says if it wasn't for a chance meeting at a Georgia Farm Bureau event, she may not even have known about it.
You know, that's why networking, especially at Summer Leadership, is so important, because if it wasn't for the DC trip, meeting Luke and Samantha, and then seeing them again at Summer Leadership connected me to come here. We have a U-Pick vegetable garden, or in the process of getting it out there of a U-Pick. And so I have 1 million tomatoes that I have not canned. My kitchen is not big enough. 8 bushel baskets later, we have 36 quart jars of tomatoes, canned and ready to go.
She says the process is quick and only took a little over 2 hours to can all 36 jars of her tomatoes. And it's free.
We felt like this was a great way to give back to those people who pay taxes to the school system and to see their tax dollars at work.
One final note on that, they do ask that you bring your own jars, lids, and of course, whatever you'd like to can. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, roger that. Very nice job. Perfect transition, because this show is in the can. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.